How do everybody? Got another story here which the headline has grabbed me and I've had a quick flick through. It is pretty shocking. This isn't a clickbait story once again because I don't like doing them. Um, Harrowing, and for those of you who are regular to the channel, this is going to sound like a broken record once again, but for me, this is a prime example of why we should bring flogging back on top of custodial sentences. This is a real nonce here and should be flogged to within an inch of his life for what he's done. Boogeyman burglar, 28, is discovered hiding under a boy's bed on Halloween wearing nothing but the child's underwear. Try and explain to me how this man does not deserve to be flogged. Please explain to me. I doubt anybody has got enough words to be able to articulate why he shouldn't be flogged and convince me otherwise. I just doubt it. Willing to be surprised though, please go ahead and try. If you feel you can do, please do put a comment below. A boogeyman burglar has been jailed for 2.5 years after he was found hiding under a boy's bed wearing nothing but the child's pants. Ahmad Hassan, 28, has been dubbed a real-life boogeyman by police officers after he left the youngsters in fear of going into his bedroom alone while his brother was so traumatised he vomited. I tell you what, if I found somebody in my house doing that, I'd probably go into prison for a very, very long time. I would use extreme prejudice against any person that I found hiding under my children's bed. And I would stand up in court. I'd fully admit what I did, and I'd say I felt it was reasonable at the time. I would have no qualms in saying that. And I doubt very much that there'd be very many juries who'd disagree with me, but you never know. Canterbury Crown Court, the shocking discovery was made after the young siblings had returned home from trick-or-treating with the mother on October 31st last year. That is absolutely terrible thing to come home to, isn't it? I mean, how the heck did he even get into the house? I mean, what's gone on there? Like, this is... I mean, I only had a quick flick through, so I've no idea of actually the further details. I just know that the headline is not clickbait, Despite finding doors and windows open at the property in Folkestone, Kent, and the interior ransacked, the family believed the intruder had left. But then one of the boys was greeted by the terrifying sight under his bed. Well, that explains how he's got there anyway, doesn't it? Police were alerted and found Hassan by now in another bedroom, lying on the floor, stretched out in a starfish position, and still wearing the boy's orange pants. Why would anybody do that? I mean, it's one thing to go into a property and ransack it and, to burgle it. Why is he wearing the kid's clothes? That is weird, man. Really weird. I mean, I think people who get caught in burglaries and stuff should be flogged as well. I'm very liberal with who I feel should be flogged, and I think all these sorts of crimes well deserving of it. And I think it should be a good alternative for non-violent crimes as well for people instead of sending them to prison. I think they should be flogged instead. Maybe more than once, maybe once say it was going to be a year-long prison sentence, maybe flog them once at the beginning, and then when the sentence was due to be done, flog them again, just as a reminder. I don't know. I'm open. I mean, I'm not set in stone on that. Maybe just one flogging would do. If you've got somebody who's been drink driving, but they've been pulled over by the police before they've killed anybody or been in a crash, maybe that's an alternative to sending them to prison instead. I don't know. This is something I think is worth debating though, because in that way it doesn't ruin the life. With non-violent people, it doesn't mean that they're not going to lose the job, they're not going to lose the home. They're still going to be going to work if they work and paying taxes, all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I think maybe in some ways it's a more humane way of dealing with crime rather than sending people to prison. Hassan later denied burglary with intent to steal, but was found guilty after a jury deliberated for just 40 minutes. My goodness, I was struggling to get that word out then. I think that'd be pretty open and shut. You find a bloke in a house that's ransacked in the kids' underwear. I don't think it takes a genius to figure out what's going on there, does it? And I think the fact he's denied it, it shows the sort of character that he is. Even if you hadn't actually gone in to ransack the place at that point, you're just gonna be like, yeah, I was robbing the place. You've just got to admit to it at that point, because that's exactly how it looks to everybody else. He did not give evidence at his trial, but Canterbury Crown Court heard he had been under the influence of drugs at the time. Well, no S about that. Absolutely no S at all. In other news, the sky is blue and dogs bark. During the trial, a police officer described Hassan to jurors as the bogeyman. Absolutely. A judge told Hassan he could not begin to imagine how his young victim must have felt when he found the intruder under his bed on Halloween last year. Prosecutor Alex Matthews told the sentencing hearing on Wednesday that the family returned home about 9 p.m. to find toys all over the floor, wet clothes in the hallway, and some of their own clothing and bedding disturbed. She said it was though no one was in the house, but to the shock of one of our children, it transpired the defendant was hiding under the child's bed. Obviously, the family was rather distressed. The defendant was ultimately found in another son's bedroom and was clearly under the influence of drink or drugs. The court heard it was accepted Hassan had not forced entry, as the homeowner believed she may have left a door open and nothing was actually stolen. Well, they're very fortunate there, really, in that, but it's still not good, is it? If a victim, I'm not trying to victim blame there, by the way, you should be able to leave your doors unlocked and your windows unlocked and not have to worry about people going into your home. But unfortunately, in this modern day and age, especially with so many people living in countries, these things happen, don't they? And with so many people moving around as well, we are becoming more and more of a low trust society now, unfortunately. And that's not necessarily due to immigration either. That's just even people internally migrating around countries. It does create certain problems with it, unfortunately, because communities don't know each other anymore. People don't know their neighbours and things like that. In her victim impact statement made a few hours after the burglary, the mum revealed how she and her sons had been affected. They decided not to stay in the house that night and are believed to have since moved. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I bet they're terrified living in that house after that. Your hallowed ground has been, the sanctity of it's been basically desecrated at that point. So I do understand what's going through her mind. She told police, "I'm still shaken, feeling extremely anxious, in shock, and ultimately scared. I know the house is now safe, but I'm scared to go home." Yeah, it's not surprising at all. "My children are mortified. One will live constantly thinking someone is in the house. He didn't want to go back to his bedroom without me. My other son threw up as a result of the fear he's been through." Hassan, who has no previous convictions, was said to have lived in the UK for 11 years, but was homeless at the time of the offence and leading a chaotic life. It's believed he changed into the boys' underwear as his own clothing was wet. That's kind of plausible, I guess, to be reasonable. I mean, it's still absolutely shocking that he's done that. And if he hadn't been in the property in the first place, his clothes wouldn't have been wet, would they? Still deserves flogging, though, in my opinion. I've absolutely no sympathy for him because he just shouldn't have been in there. Alexa Lemoyne, defending, told the court the defendant was genuinely remorseful for his actions. Well, he should be deported, really. She said, "One cannot understate the intrusion into one's home, a safe place and a refuge for this family. It is hoped that this has not impacted in the long term on her and her children." It probably has done. Maybe not so much her, but the children may have issues with this for the rest of their lives. "This is perhaps a more unusual case in that he was found on the scene, made no attempt to escape, was asleep on the floor and plainly under the influence, which may have an explanation as to why he entered the premises and remained as he did." It's not an excuse, though. Her argument that Hassan could be spared immediate custody was rejected by recorder Christine Wilson, who jailed Hassan for 2.5 years. Yeah, well, he should have been deported as well. Recorder Wilson said the intrusion into the family's safe space and his subsequent behaviour had resulted in significant psychological harm to all 3 victims. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. I'm repeating myself at this point. It's just disgusting. It's absolutely unacceptable behaviour. And why you've got a man who's been living in the UK for 11 years and then he's ended up being homeless and living a chaotic life and he's still remaining here is beyond me. Seriously, it's beyond me why he isn't just removed from the country, because he clearly isn't benefiting the country in any way, shape or form. But you entered the property and ransacked a number of toys and garments, including the householder's underwear. You took off all your clothes and put on a pair of orange underpants belonging to one of the small children in the family, and then you hid under the child's bed. I cannot begin to imagine what it must have been like for that child on returning home on Halloween from trick-or-treating, finding a person naked apart from that child's own underpants under their bed. Hassan, who is of no fixed address, was also handed a 10-year restraining order. Right. Basically, my opinion on this is staying the same as at the beginning, plus a little bit more. Flogging, prison, deportation. No right to appeal. It's that simple. And effectively, this could be achieved if we weren't under the sway of foreign courts in the form of the European Convention of Human Rights. Just get out. We need to get out of it because this kind of madness just shouldn't be tolerated by anybody. Obviously, if he was somebody who was born in the UK, I would still be saying flogging and prison. It's just the fact that he's a foreign national. I think he should be deported as well. On top of that, just crazy, absolutely crazy story. It just shows how pathetic our judicial system is, where you can only give him 2.5 years for this. I'm going to leave it at that. If you found that interesting, insightful, or useful in any way, please do like and subscribe. And whether you agree with me or not, please do comment below. I love reading your comments and I love replying to them. It is the best part of this for me, is reading what other people think. I don't claim to be the fountain of all knowledge and to be correct on everything. I think I am right in what I'm saying and my opinions. But if you do disagree with me and you're not happy with what I'm saying, please put it below. I will take on board what people say, and if your arguments are strong enough, I will actually change my mind. I'm not a closed book in regards to that. So please don't feel that I don't listen to what people say, because I actually do. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. So thanks for watching, and take care, and goodbye.